Zealand First, I say...
Order. I haven't called the member yet. David Bennett.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. It's not many times in life you get an opportunity like this to follow on a dead duck like that last speaker there. He listed more members of the New Zealand National Party than he can name in the New Zealand First Party. I bet he couldn't even list all his members of Parliament if he tried to, even if he wrote them down, even if they were written down. But there are some names he left off that list. Where was Brendan Horan? Where was that fine member of the New Zealand First Party? Andrew Williams, another great member of the New Zealand First Party. That's another. Where was she? Where's the rest of the New Zealand First Party? When you need them, they don't stand behind you, Winston. They're not there. Don't trust these ones. They do that. As soon as you left today, Mr Peters, the next man beside you, I can't remember his name, was it? Ron Mark. He stood up, he thought this was his chance to do question time. He was more important and he wanted you out of this room. He let you go, Mr Peters. I wouldn't trust him, just like what he did to the past deputy of the New Zealand First Party. But we have got news for the New Zealand First Party. They are already in coalition agreement talks with the Labour Party and the Green Party. They have actually come to policy agreements. The New Zealand First Party, the Labour Party and the Greens Party have already worked out their manifesto. And let's look at this manifesto. The Labour Party are doing one of the big party policies of this manifesto. They are going to set interest rates. Andrew Little, with his great experience as a union leader, knows everything about finance in the world, will set the interest rates for New Zealand. Andrew Little will tell all the banking sector that he knows best, that his idea of what the interest rates in New Zealand will be the ones that everybody has to follow. I'd like to see him set those interest rates. I'd like to see him actually make sure those interest rates happen, and I'd actually like to see what sanctions he would do if those interest rates weren't followed. But there's more. There's James Shaw from the Green Party. His contribution to this manifesto is $100 million for Kiwibank. That is to make them a commercial enterprise so that they can become a full commercial bank. When would you get $100 million, get the full commercial bank in New Zealand? That would not happen. All Mr James Shaw is doing is fiddling the deck chairs amongst the Labour New Zealand First policy arrangement. It is not going to work. If anything, it would cause Kiwibank to go into the commercial market of larger loans, and we all saw what happened to the BNZ last time, and Mr Peters knows all about that because he was there. The next part of policy that both the Labour Party and the Green Party have agreed on is the universal basic income. The over $200 for everybody not to work. It's the way to say that just because you are a New Zealander, we're going to pay you over $200. I wish that approach would work to all New Zealanders, because we come to the fourth policy plank of the manifesto, which is the Mr Winston Peters policy plank, which is no to immigration and also no to foreign investment. If a New Zealander is not a citizen or a resident permanently active in New Zealand, they will not be able to buy a home under New Zealand First policy. The Labour Party, that's right, you heard it there, you heard it there, and the Labour Party has agreed. The Labour Party has said they are going to increase the refugee quota, but at the same time reduce the total migration to New Zealand. So all those migrants out there in New Zealand, remember that the Labour Party and the New Zealand First Party want to say no to bringing your family in, no to bringing your children into this country, and no to people that want to make this country your home, because that's their policy to stop immigration. And the last part of their policy is greater taxes for New Zealand. We all know that the Labour Party want to see greater taxes for New Zealanders. The New Zealand First Party want to see greater taxes on New Zealanders, and the Green Party can't wait to see New Zealanders pay greater taxes. Mr Speaker, we know what they're doing. They've created their manifesto. It's no to immigration, it's no to foreign investment, it's yes to higher taxes, and it is a policy that will never work, and we can't wait to see Andrew Little actually deciding how to set interest rates in New Zealand, and Winston Peters actually deciding who can become a New Zealander and who cannot be. Thank you, Mr Speaker.